Welcome to The Things I Wish I Knew, the official YouTube channel and podcast. What are the things you wish you knew? Let's learn together, one life lesson at a time. Today's life lesson is, we see the things we want to see. Sometimes how we see things, how we want to see things versus reality and what's in front of us, this is a really challenging thing that all of us will struggle with throughout our lives. We often are fooled by what we want to see, and we allow this to dictate all of our decisions. We even let people fool us and manipulate us due to our desire to be loved, to be wanted, to be validated. Something sinister could be happening right in front of us, right in front of you. We paint someone as the perfect person, although their flaws and their deceit are shining brightly right in front of us. We feel heartbroken when the haze breaks, when the illusion has evaporated, when all the glitter is gone and reveals a sad and harsh reality. Sometimes what we are meant to see is better than what we want to see. This is the funny thing about life, and this is something you will learn in life. Harsh realities are often products of our own delusions, our denial, our decision to ignore what's in front of us. For example, a great example of this is in love and relationships. I think we can all relate to this. We all have at one point in our lives have fallen foolishly in love with someone. Not with the person, but with the idea we create in our minds and the package they present to us. All of this married together creates a masterful illusion. You may not think you are a magician or you can practice magic, but did you know you practice magic every day in the way that you manifest and create your own reality? The things you choose not to see eventually lead to suffering. For example, have you ever loved someone so badly or wanted to love them, wanted them to love you, that you wrote a beautiful love story, a happily ever after kind of story, that you were sure the two of you would live together? Or maybe have you had that friend who you trusted too much? You thought that they had your back and wanted the best for you, and of course, you the same for them, just to realize that it was a one-sided relationship, or actually, let's just say, this is something that only you believed. I'm not against fairy tales or being a daydreamer or being a big dreamer. I dream big and work hard. Just be aware that along the way in life, you will encounter people who will use your hope as your weakness. They will sell you hoop dreams all the while they are manipulating you and deceiving you. Sounds a little grim, I know, but unfortunately, this is part of human nature and this is part of the human existence. Part of being successful is allowing reality and dreams to form a strong union. There are times when you have to get your head out of the clouds, connect your head with your heart. Now, I definitely think you should follow your heart. There's nothing wrong with this. There's always room for love. In fact, there is never enough love, and the world needs more of it. It's important to recognize when your heart, your feelings are clouding your judgment. I can think of many times when I allowed how I felt about someone, my love for them. And this doesn't just have to be a significant other. It can be someone you work with where your fondness for them prevented you from seeing things, the red flags. Endearing qualities are captivating. They can be good and also bad. The little soft place you build in your heart can either be a strength or a weakness. It's important to see people as they really are, not what we want them to be. This doesn't mean that people can't change. It just means that we adjust our beliefs as the evolution occurs, not prior. We get disappointed when people don't meet our expectations, not because they are not capable, but more so because they haven't arrived to where we imagined they could be. So I'm not saying you shouldn't believe in people or see their potential. This is a very important thing to do. I think we all want someone to believe in us and see our potential. I think it's important, though, to grow with people. Your belief in someone shouldn't take you away from the here and now. We don't imagine the sun to be different than what it is. We accept it as it is, what it brings. This is the same thing with people. This is the same understanding you should develop with regard to people in your life. It will save you a lot of disappointment. No one is supposed to be anything for you unless they choose to. The role someone plays in your life is the role you have designated for them. If they deviate from this, the disappointment lies solely on you. I know that sucks. People are just the way they are, whether they are adding good things or bad things to your life. Therefore, it's your job to understand the feelings you have in relation to them. Your feelings are your responsibility. This is something that I've said in the last podcast. The assumptions you make about people and the situations belong to you. So basically, how you see a situation and how you feel about people, these are feelings that you own. These are not feelings for them to own. Once you realize this, it will be easier for you to let go of resentment and anger or disappointment. It's nice to have people in our lives who support us, who love us. Just be mindful of codependent relationships, attachments that feed the ego. The ego is the driver of misconceptions. I'm sure you can think of many times when your ego has led you down the wrong path, not just in love, but in career choices or really a lot of things. The ego is an amazing thing because it can give us a lot of confidence, but sometimes it can make us see things that aren't really there. And in fact, it can inflate reality and make it look a lot better than what it is. This is why it's important to take a step back and evaluate things. Ask yourself important questions or address underlying feelings of doubt. Sometimes you will get that nudge, I know you have felt this too, that signals something just isn't right. Rather than ignore it, try to understand why you feel this way. Try writing it down. This always helps. In fact, this is a great exercise you can do daily or once a week, and just write down your thoughts or moments when you felt uneasy in an interaction. This could be through business. It could be as a result of your relationship, and write it down so you can use it as a reference point. There's a difference between, and I think this is very important, between doubts that are rooted in lack of belief in yourself due to maybe low self-worth or the idea that you're not good enough, or doubt that stems from feeling something isn't quite right. It's important to learn to distinguish between the two. Also, never allow someone to talk you into something that doesn't feel right, that doesn't sit well with you. It's okay to take risks, but don't allow outside forces to drive this decision. Your instincts are there to guide you. If you feel disconnected, then figure out why. Do this before you make any decisions. And of course, I'm all for taking a leap of faith in love and in life. It's important to really trust the process and trust that no matter what, we will end up in the right place, space, and with the right people we are meant to be with. But I think it's important to apply discernment in your life, and this should be applied to your relationships with people, in work, in life, in friendship. Just because something is presented to you in a beautiful package and everyone admires it or admires them, this doesn't mean that everything is what it seems. Don't allow yourself to be fooled by what you see. When people recognize that you are mesmerized by appearance or gestures of grandeur, it's easy for them to deceive you or to take advantage of you. I think this is an interesting thing we don't realize, because sometimes when someone is presenting a lot of great things to us, I always say, everything that glitters isn't gold. I think it's actually an old cliche saying. This applies to so many things in your life where it looks so pretty on the outside, and a lot of people are really great at presenting beautiful things because they know people are lured in by the exterior of things. I think we see this with social media, how we are easily pulled in by what we see, and we don't take the time to really dive into what are we really looking at and why do I like this? Don't allow yourself to be fooled by what you see. When people recognize this, they will take advantage of you. As an adult, it's your responsibility to recognize this. Don't let your desire cloud your judgment. Keep in mind that no one does anything for nothing. I know that sounds negative, but it's the truth. There will be a time in life where an individual who has been there for you will need you, and they will think of all the times and the moments where they gave you love and generosity. So it's kind of like giving the universe back what it gives you. So always keep that in mind, that when you allow people to extend love to you, it's important for you to give love back. Whatever it is you are extending back into the universe or to that individual, it's important for you to understand that there's an exchange when you think about the human connection and how humans interact. You can take that in however you want to. Does this mean you shouldn't be charitable? Of course you should. To be honest, the reasons why don't matter. They actually don't. Ask yourself how many explanations have truly satisfied you when you didn't get the desired result. Some people do things because it makes them feel good. It does something for them personally. Some people do things because of the way other people will look at them and admire them. But we aren't talking about acts of kindness. We are talking about your desires for, you have to tell me, what do you want? What's weighing heavily on your mind and on your heart? There are people who will see this very quickly, even if they help you, and in the end, all of it pays off and perhaps your desires are fulfilled. But they will know how badly you want them and they will play off of this. If you choose to work with someone like this or date someone like this, leave 60% of mental space at the very least for reality and for your ability to rationalize what is happening. You're probably wondering, why 60%? To be honest, it's up to you. It's individual. For some people, it might be 70. Some people, it might be 80. It's all a matter of who you are and your ability to discern what's real and also whether or not you're being fooled by people or being taken advantage of. So allow a certain space in your mindset and situations to step into reality so you can analyze yourself and a situation objectively. This is why it's important to see things as they really are, so you can be very objective. People will tell you what you want to hear, if they can benefit off of you, if they can control you, intimidate you, or keep you in their life. This extends to business, love relationships, and it also extends to friendships. Sometimes the biggest emotional magicians are the ones who you call a friend. Having a friend is a wonderful thing. But the same rule applies. See people as they are, what they do, not what you have imagined them to do or what you believe them to be due to your feelings of love for them. This doesn't mean you can't have genuine connections. Of course you can. Understanding human nature, how our ego can cloud our judgment, what ways we look at to quench our ego and our desires, whether it be something good or something negative. This requires us to take a step back, audit our life, our relationships and situations, and balance the scale. If the scale weighs heavily where a lot of bad relationships have taken place, where these experiences were due to your wants or perhaps you seeking unhealthy validation, if you are finding life a little painful as you think of past decisions in life and in love, it's time to analyze how you got here and who you got here with. I do want to mention that if you have found yourself in an abusive relationship, both physically and emotionally, I want you to know that the behavior of someone else is not your fault. So never think that because you didn't see things as they are, it's your fault that someone treated you the way they did. Their behavior, their actions are their responsibility. It's important to use situations like that to empower yourself so you can move forward and find the right kind of love and put yourself in healthy spaces and places. Take note of moments that linger in your mind where you thought, this is odd, I'm not sure about this, or this person is moving a little too fast, or this seems too good to be true, or why are you doing all of this for me? Write this down, write all these concerns down, write down the whys. As I mentioned above, and I will mention this a lot on my podcast, write down your feelings or write down things that are red flags in your life when you interact with other people. If it's someone you are working with or thinking of working with, use this as a foundation to navigate how you work with them in the future. Pay attention, ask questions, and if you feel rushed, slow down. If they gaslight you when you ask questions or sell you another glossy story, if they dance around direct answers or tangible results, you will see that the feelings you had that were flashing bright red lights in front of you, they were there for a reason. Where matters of the heart are concerned, this can be tricky if you are easily sold by fairy tales. Let's be honest, who doesn't love a fairy tale? Other than doctors, healthcare workers, mental health care workers, let's be honest, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, or your partner isn't going to save you, nor are they there to do so. They are there to add to your life, to help you, but if it's a love savior you are looking for, it will be easy for anyone who is looking for someone they can form a codependent bond with to manipulate you, to feed you a lot of fake gold that will tarnish and make your finger turn green. I know you want to find love if you're single. This feeling can lead you into the arms of many unworthy lovers. Hopefully, you have learned from your past experiences in love where you didn't see what was in front of you. It's not that people change when we break up with them, or perhaps you are going through a divorce as you think of how ruthless they are or how cold they are. It's that we didn't want to see them as they are. We ignored these parts of them because it didn't work with the story we wrote about them in our mind and also ingrained in our heart. Thinking they're awful, it doesn't matter. It won't change anything. What you can do for yourself is take a look at your choices in love, those moments when you felt uneasy, anxious. I know you felt this when you were with this person or when you thought about them. Think of the times you let their BS explanations convince you of something you knew wasn't right. You wanted them so bad, you would believe anything that supported your story. Rather than feed the ego, we should nourish the ego. When we nourish the ego, we flourish and we thrive. When we feed the ego, we self-destruct and make bad decisions. What's happening in your life right now that you need to take a better look at? What's unsettling you? Now is the perfect time for you to see what you refuse to see. Thank you for listening to The Things I Wish I Knew. Peace and love. Thank you for listening to the Things I Wish I Knew podcast. If you like this podcast, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe for your weekly life lessons. If you'd like to read more life lessons or more on this life lesson today, please go to thethingsiwishiknew.com.